Okay, so we're going to start off at looking at equations and identities, and we're going to try and understand what the difference between the two is. So an equation states that two expressions are equal in value. So if we have a look here, I know that 3x add 5 is equal to 11. So this is an equation, which means we can then go on and solve it. Most of us will either solve by using the function machine or any other valid method. So just really quickly, if I wanted to solve this, I've got 3x add 5 is equal to 11. I'm going to start with x, I'm going to multiply it by 3, I'm going to add 5, and I know that gives me an answer of 11. I then go in reverse, so I'm going to subtract 5 from 11, which gives me 6. I'm then going to take 6 and divide it by 3, which tells me that the value of x is equal to 2. So when we've got an equation, we know that we can work out the value to make the two expressions equal. An identity is an equation which is always true no matter what values are substituted. So if we notice here, 2x add 3x is equal to 5x. So basically whatever's on one side of the equal sign is equal to the other. So for example, I could say that 2 brackets x plus 2 would be an identity if I knew it was 2x add 4, because if I expanded this bracket, 2 times x gives me 2x, 2 times 2 gives me 4. So just really quickly, I want you to pause the video and I want you to have a quick look. Which of these is an identity or an equation? Okay, so if we have a quick look, so remember we said an equation is something that is two expressions are equal in value, or we've also said that it's something that we can solve. So we have a look here, these are definitely not the same on each side, so therefore it can't be an identity. And actually this is one of those questions where I would subtract the 3x from 5x, which will give me 2x add 10 is equal to 8. Then I would use the function machine to solve it. Let's have a look at the second one. So I've got 5x add 10 is equal to 5 brackets x plus 2. Well, if I expand this bracket here, I'm doing 5 times x, which gives me 5x. I'm doing 5 times 2, which gives me plus 10. So actually this one is an identity. This one here was an equation because both sides of the brackets are the same. This one here, again, they're not the same on both sides, so it is going to be an equation. However, you do find if you were to rearrange this one, 5x, take away 5x will give me nothing. So this one is an equation that cannot be solved. So we're just going to have a look at some style of exam questions we might be asked to do. So a typical exam question would be to tell you to choose from a list of words that best describes the statement. So up here we have an identity, we have an expression, we have a formula, a term and equation. So first of all, I'm going to have a look at the ones that I know. So remember, an equation is something that we can solve. So this first one here, I know that actually n, if it was equal to 6, would make both of these the same. So this one here is an equation. This next one, 3x plus 2y, well, each of these single things here are called a term. When we have a collection of terms but there's no equal sign, we call them an expression. So when you're looking for an expression, generally doesn't have an equal sign in it. Now this last question is taken straight from an exam paper and it did have an equal sign in here, but for some reason when it's copied across it hasn't come through. So this one is telling me that a add b and a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. Well, the easiest way to understand what this one is I need to expand these double brackets here. So I'm going to do a times a to give me a squared, a times negative b to give me minus ab, a plus b, so a plus b, and finally b times minus b gives me minus b squared. Then I'm just going to collect the terms. Well, AB and BA are actually the same. One's negative, one's positive. So this is a squared minus b squared, which is the same what's on this side. So therefore this here is an identity. So remember, if you're trying to identify if something is an identity, it needs to be the same on each side of your equal sign. Alternative question is a 5-mark question which looks a little bit more complicated. However, if you lay it out, it's not as complicated as it first might seem. So I've got 2 sets of single brackets. So what I'm going to do is start by this bracket, expand it, then expand this bracket here. Remember, it's asking me to find the values of C and D. So I've got something on this side, so therefore it's likely that this is going to be an identity question. So I'm trying to make this side equal the same as this side here. So first of all, I'm going to expand this bracket. That gives me 8x, add 8 from this part here, plus, now it sounds a bit strange, but it's fine to have it in terms of algebra, cx plus cd is equal to 10x, add 6. I want to work out the value of c and the value of d. So I'm just going to collect my terms together. I'm just going to do it in slightly different colour. So I'm going to say that 8x add cx is equal to 10x. Now the reason I've done that is because each of these terms contains an x. Well, from this I can say, well, 8x add how many x's equals 10x. Therefore c has got to be equal to 2, because 8 add 2 makes 10. So I've used this term, I've used this one, and I've used this one. So what have I got left? So I've got 8 add cd is equal to 6. Well, I've already calculated that c is equal to 2. So I have 8 add 2d is equal to 6. Then I'm just going to solve it as an equation with a function machine with d. I'm going to multiply it by 2. I'm going to add 8 and it gives me a value of 6. I'm going to go backwards, so it's 6. Take away 8, be really careful because you're not going to have a calculator. So 6 take 8 gives me negative 2. Divide it through, which tells me that d is equal to minus 1. I've got to make it really clear for the examiner I know what I'm doing. So c is equal to 2 and d is equal to negative 1. So when you get a question like this, make sure you expand your brackets, you collect the terms, so all the x terms together, and then find the value of c and then substitute it in to find your value of d.